just now starting, as we are ready for Clan Colombia versus Lost Youth Federation. So let's click in. And yep, it's going to be the first map. Should be the home map of CLB. And it's looking like Islands, the dry version of Islands. And looking at the civilizations, we are seeing basically the standard or standard. Not all, well, the Mayans are weird from LyF, to be honest. You don't really see them all that often. But otherwise, we see from CLB Huns. Then we are seeing Vikings, Saracens, and Japanese, which is pretty much an okayly prepared team. Whereas for LyF, Lost Youth Federation, we are seeing Vikings, Huns, Japanese, and Mayans. Alright, the Mayans are a bit of a question mark in there for me at least. But since both of the clans are having Vikings, we shouldn't be having all that much of a problem seeing how this game is going to go. Interesting islands for the markets a bit later into the game. This is a pretty elongated one, so this is not a bad one at all. Let's drop the chat as we are having a lot of spectators in there. And looking at the purple island, this is a pretty sweet one as well, as it's very, very long indeed. And yeah, this is very nicely made for the later game. So let's see if we are going to be seeing this map taking that long. Bahai's island is kind of similar, but not really ideal, of course, as this peninsula is going to be pretty much useless for that. But in the forefront, it's still at least a decent length in here. Not really all that much looking how it's basically measured by the air distance, but overall, yeah, better than nothing, I guess. And they should be happy with what they are so far having. Maybe that island is going to be slightly better for LyF, but let's see if maybe, or rather, if we are going to get into that late stage in the game. Otherwise, the problem with the fishies will be pretty much fine. Yeah, GRF just now asking, it's Team Islands, right? Yeah, well, not really. Not really. It's everybody on their own island, so there's not going to be any kind of help for either of the teams and from their teammates. So in the four corners, we don't see any kind of problems with fishies. All the four corners are pretty much bountiful and not really any kind of spot that would be pretty bad for either of the players. Maybe there's going to be a bit of a problem for Blue. If he is placing his dock like about here, he could be running out of the fish pretty soon, making his economy kinda ineffective, but looking how he's having a whole lot of them at the top, so that basically means that he should be putting a dock at least one at the back, so that he can use the corner up. Yeah, that shouldn't be all that much of a problem for him, and I don't really expect that to be something that should be decided in the game. What is, though, important is the middle island, with the 4 golds. That is closer to whom? Well, that's gray, that's green, that's red. So it's basically between both of these clans, so not any kind of advantage for either of the clans. Whereas the second island is at the bottom, and it's between Punk Flat and Bahai, so basically LyF's. And is it having what? Triple stone and 1 gold and a whole lot of wood. 1 wood line, second, third, fourth, fifth. Oh man, it's a very nice island for them to be having. A lot of woodline in here, and definitely going to be quite difficult for CLBs to put them out of the position in here, because the only one who can successfully somehow attack them in here is going to be Manuel, who is already going for pretty aggressive build-up of the dock. Because he doesn't see that his opponent is so close by. Yeah, unfortunately he placed it in a pretty bad position, to be honest. The first dock should be going like in the corner, either here on the left side or on the right side. This is a pretty weird position, to be honest, for dock, really. The same as the positioning of the dock for Gotcha, who also should have gone somewhere to the right side, a bit more to the corner. But let's see how well this is going to go for them. So far we are seeing interesting dock placement for Gamin, who is placing it at the correct position, so as he's going to be controlling the middle of the map, and also having a pretty decent amount of fishing spots in here, just to be happy with what he's having for the fishing boats at the start. In the end, once he places a second dock about here, I would be expecting a bit more his positioning. Once he scouts with the fishing boats in there a bit more, he's going to be having quite a bit of luck, or he's going to be quite happy about all those deep fish just waiting for him to be gathered from. Oscar H has built his dock, well, as a pocket, of course. He doesn't have really all that much of a choice, but this is a pretty good placement for him. Would be expecting yet again a dock at the top, but that's going to be coming in pretty much later, I think, because it's very far away, and he was kind of lucky, as this is a bit of a pocket of the water in here with a lot of fish, so he's going to be in a pretty good position to advance soon into whatever age he wants to. Well, few villages are being clicked in, whereas others are going for extra villages. We can see that Bahay and GRF are going for 23, 22, so they are probably going to be fast castling. The same goes for the blue player Oscar H and Lionheart. So yes, all the 4 pockets are going for fast castle, which is basically usual on islands. And we can see a lot of scouting going on. So let's check, for example, the positioning of the resources. Pretty decent for the gray player, not any kind of problem. If he happens to lose the water, he's not going to be losing the resources either. Rather with it. The gold for the player of the green also pretty much fine. For red the same, not any kind of problem at all. How's it looking for orange? Also pretty much fine. This could be in range in Imperial Age. Yes, this will be in range in Imperial Age. But at that stage, I don't really think it's going to be mattering all that much, and he most definitely should be going for the gold at the bottom first. Let's switch into his point of view. If he even knows about it, he should be. Because there's not that much to be scouting in the early game with the scout, so he does know about it, but he is opting for the bit less optimal one at the top, a bit less optimal one for the later game. Not any kind of problem for the teal player. And for yellow, basically the same, also not any kind of problem. If it wasn't for the stone on the left, that is going to be not really ideal, as that is definitely going to mean that he's not going to be able to gather from this once he manages to lose the water somehow, if he manages to lose the water. Extra dogs from Manuel as Hans are coming to the bottom side because he has already discovered that he's going to be facing yellow, and yellow as a Hans as well is already dropping a dogs into a bit more into the middle, so he's going to be hoping that maybe teal is going to be helping him. It is so far having dog in here, the second one at the top. So yes, they are definitely going to be cooperating, and this is interestingly close between them. And this choke point is going to be super important, so I'm fully expecting in Castle Age castles about here and here, as they are going to be super important for both sides of this battle. And really, who is able to control this choke point is most probably going to be winning the game. Let's see if that's going to be the truth, or if it's just a wishful thinking on my part for an interesting game. Well then, continuing with the gold and stone placement, pretty much fine. Well, at least this gold mine is fine. This one is not so fine, but it shouldn't be in threat before it is actually mined out. So it shouldn't be in the long run a problem in there. For gray, yeah, pretty much fine. And I think that we have actually gone full circle in here, with blue being the last one. And purple also, one that we haven't looked at yet. But he's also having pretty safe resources, so not any kind of problem. And we are going to be seeing some first encounters on the water, as yellow is so far having at least a bit higher numbers, with another dog being built by Punkflat, is himself of course. But right now, oh yeah, all the extra boats are coming in, and yellow will be forced to retreat from the position in here. Otherwise, not really all that much of a fighting going on, of course, as I'm expecting that teal should be joining into the fun pretty soon once he advances into the Castle Age, but so far it's going to be all up to the flanks fighting each other, Punkflat together with the purple player Manuel Han against Han, whereas on the right side we are seeing Gotcha as Vikings against Japanese in here. So let's see. That's going to be going for the Viking, of course, because of the cheaper galleys. But let's see if it's going to be something that will decide the game. I don't really think so, as Castle Ages are already being clicked in for GRF and Bahay, both from LyF, so they are going to be advancing a bit faster into Castle Age. But also with lower amount of villages. Bahay at 30, GRF at 28, whereas, for example, the grey player is going to be advancing with 30 as well, maybe even more, and the last pocket blue is right now at 32, is definitely going to be having stronger economy going into the next age. So far though, no Castle Age from CLB, as they are still fighting in here. Green though needs to be careful, as he's of course playing against a Viking, whereas on the left side, yellow seems to be doing a pretty good job, even though Manuel is most definitely not making it easy for his opponent. And oh well, we are even seeing the repairing of the bows in here. Well, that's nice, and not something that you see all that often. But it's really working quite nice wonders for them, and Punkflat is doing a pretty good job of this. You can see this almost dead boat is getting repaired at least a bit. And right about now, Manuel should be targeting the villager, because that's of course a threat to anything that he's doing, because he's basically wasting all his damage into everything that is gonna get repaired, and of course that's not something that you would want in the long run. So Castle Age is finally coming in from CLB as well. He's from the blue pocket of Scarage, but he's already having at least a decent amount of galleys coming into the fight in here. But let's see if he's going to be faster than his opponents, because they are already in through Castle Age. And yep, there is already a grey advancing to Castle Age as well, and joining with green, which is much more important. But we should be seeing the war galleys from the allies of LyF pretty soon. Let's see though, Orange so far having 2 docks going for fire ships, not even war galleys, whereas for Teal we are seeing pretty much normal galleys, and he should be going for war galleys, yeah, exactly as he is. So that's going to be the unit of choice for him, whereas on the right it's going to be up to the fire ships to deal with both green and grey, together with the help from red player Gotcha. Scouting a bit in the meantime, as he's trying to find his way into the battlefield. The fishing boat in here as well. It's almost like and they are trying to catch each other, or rather the fire ship is trying to catch this fishing boat. But look at how the water battles are not really going anywhere all that much, and with this interesting tower, that's not really a bad thought by Punkflat, because it's of course going to help him fight against all those boats. But let's see if it's really going to decide anything, because he needs all the reinforcements from the Teal player pretty soon in this battle, especially since there are already war galleys before the war galleys from the blue player come into play, which is going to be pretty soon, as he's already clicking them in. Yep, right now Purple finding himself in a pretty tough situation, as he's fighting, or rather fighting himself doubled by his opponents, but of course he's having at least a bit of help from the blue player, and if they can wait long enough for the Potkin Arrow and War Galley with the important engagement, they are going to be pretty much fine, and so shouldn't be facing any kind of problems in the battles to come. So let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, right now they need to retreat. It's not really a good position for them, and there's also a bit of interesting stuff happening in the middle, as basically both Bahei and Lionheart are trying to somehow secure the middle of the map and at least have some kind of idea what's happening in there, because so far the battles are just happening on the left and on the right. Let's check it out. How's it looking in here? With Orange right now going to be switching into galleys, as fire ships was a bad idea. It usually is in the galley wars, even though they are kinda effective against them, are having pretty decent, of course, pierce armor at 6. They are still kinda slow, and with the high number of galleys they are not going to be all that effective, and especially they are not going to be cost effective against the armies that they are facing. Here you can see right now that Grey together with Green are basically laying waste to all the army right now, as Gotcha is going to be alone. Unfortunately, all the boats from Grey, or rather from Orange, are getting just easily slaughtered, and they are not any kind of help at all. So on the right it seems to be aiming for CLBs pretty strongly, as Castle Ages are coming in for Punkflat and CLB Manuel as well. Whereas on the left, it's still quite nicely equal, as Punkflat together with Bahei are doing their job quite nicely against their opponents, Oskrage together with the purple one Manuel. So let's see how this is going to develop. This tower, they should really be hoping, or rather trying, to lure the opponents under the tower, to be having at least some kind of use from it. But so far they are not even attempting to do so. So let's see what is going to be the other plan from them, or rather the plan going forward. So far I don't see all that much stuff happening anywhere else, like some kind of landing or anything. Just a bit of raiding by Teal was basically dealt with the units of Grey that we're having in the middle. And well, yep, there is nothing to be stopping him from his very nice raiding just about here. All the economy getting stronger for all of these players. Right now, of course, Rat is going to be in deep trouble, because he's right now hiding literally in the corner, trying to get away from pretty strong numbers. of both green and grey, and that's because orange isn't having the numbers yet, but he's working on it with the war galleys right about now, and hoping that he can join with Gotcha pretty soon, because Gotcha is advancing into Castle Age and going to be having war galleys himself pretty soon. But sooner than that happens, war galleys are coming for Punkflat and Gamin as well. That's more relevant for the right battlefield, whereas on the left there's not much happening, but it's almost looking like that purple with blue are now using the advantage of having double war galleys sooner than their opponents to go into a bit more into the offensive. But the numbers are pretty good for LyF, and LyF are still going to be having pretty good chance of putting the armada of their opponents out of commission in here. Let's see how this is going to develop. This is looking pretty equalish, but I would be slightly favoring LyF, but they are having some really weird maneuvers in here. Basically not doing anything, but absorbing a whole lot of damage, and that's the reason why they are losing. There were some really weird maneuvers that basically lost them the battle, because I think the numbers were at least equal, if not even better. But the reinforcements from CLB seems to be also pretty strong, and they definitely are paying off in the long run. So far, on the right side, not much change, as Lionhearts together with Gamin are having a bit of fun, getting rid of the houses and such. War galleys and Botkinero getting for Gacha, and they should be right now coming in. Oh, come on, come on! Oh man, better coordination. Orange and red, better coordination please, because you definitely have the chance in here. And if you can play this correctly, come on. Come on, engage, engage. Come on, engage, and let's see how this is going to go right about now. Why islands? Punkflat asking, and well... Alright, so right now there needs to be a full-on engagement. They found his army, yeah, well, there wasn't really much other choice where it could have gone. And it was a pretty safe pick to either kill fishing boats or just find anything else. They did find anything else. So a bit more coordination, yet again LyF. Oh well, come on, come on. Oh man, this is absolutely glorious for CLB, because they are basically catching their opponents into 2v1s. That's exactly what they need to do, because they are not facing any kind of substantial opposition in the double army of their opponents, which means they are just going to be solidifying their lead on the right battlefield. On the left, they seem to be moving a bit forward as well. LyF don't seem to be strong enough to deal with this, especially with Grey right now joining into the fun in here, as he's not really needed on the right side, but there's still going to be a bit of fight left, as the war galleys from the Mayan are quite nicely ready for a bit of fun against the green and a decent part of the Grey army. Definitely need to be careful if they don't want to be surprised, as red is somewhere at the bottom, trying to basically run around the island and join with orange from the left. But this battle really seems to be going quite well for LyF, and should be basically allowing them to somehow make something happen on this side of the map, unless unless the reinforcements are coming in, which is exactly what is happening from Gamin. And well, yeah, that means go back, as this is not going to work all that well for you. On the left side, CLBs are advancing ever forward, as the armies from yellow are basically annihilated, with TLB in the last one, trying to fight in here. You can see that yellow is not even working, rather pushing out anything out of his docks. Just losing everything in here, so it seems like it is basically out, which is going to make the game quite easier on islands for CLB to somehow secure it for their side. Yeah, LyF just now recognizing that this game is pretty much over, which I have to agree with, especially with Lionheart advancing into Imperial Age and just going to be waiting for the Galleons to put the final nail into the coffin of LyF's game. So on the right side, yeah, there's going to be a bit of fight still left. Yeah, 7+2 into attack, whereas they're having just 7+1. Also 7+2 right now for Mayans, so at least something. With some extra upgrades into economy coming for CLBs, and well, I just now saying that he's having just 6 galleys, and well, that's probably not going to do all that much. And right now the GG is being called, and the islands seem to be the home map for CLBs coming into their power. So nicely played, and they are leading 1-0 into the match, match against Lawsuit Federation. Nicely played, nicely done. There's going to be still a bit of a fight to be had, as GRF is attempting to at least punish his opponent in here. Unfortunately, Grey is going to be joining in pretty soon. Means that is going to be just a confirmation of Green winning this battle just by himself anyway, because he is right close to his docks, which also means that there wouldn't be all that much of a chance for the reinforcements to be all that effective for GRF, even though he was attempting to do so. So let's check the achievements. With Oscar H being the MVP in here as the pocket player. Well, he was playing quite nicely as the support on the left side. Oh, yep, that's understandable. And CLBs, well, they basically waited for the right moment. They did what needed to be done. Even though the battle on the left was pretty tough for them, LyF were playing there quite nicely and were holding the fort for quite some time. That's maybe a bit too early advance, even though Manuel was going for pretty much the same advance on Feudal Age in here, so yeah, not that much. Not that much, but I think that Gotcha was having slightly weaker economy by like a villager or something. And that in the end can make even that difference. Well then, GG.